In this easy to follow guide, I'm going to show you how to draw a melting effect. All you need for this drawing is a few pencils, an eraser, and a pencil sharpener. I also used a white colored pencil, but that's totally optional. Also, for this tutorial, I'm going to use a candle as my main subject to show you how to create the texture of melting materials. First, let's draw the shape of the candle. Draw an oval in the middle of the page, and from the corners of the oval, draw 2 lines downwards to form a cylinder. Start by drawing a simple cylindrical shape without using any guidelines, which means you don't need to be worried about perspective. Make small adjustments to the lines as needed using your usual HB pencil to create light strokes. This way, it'll be easier to erase any lines later on. Next, close the bottom of the cylinder with a half circle, making sure to keep the length of the candle in the middle of the page. I want the candle to have a moderate height, not too tall. Now begin to add irregular and abstract shapes to represent the melted wax of the candle. Draw lines that flow downward and feel free to slightly widen the base of the candle to give it a more natural look. Using your guidelines, begin to add irregular edges and random protrusions around the cylinder. From the top edge of the oval, which represents the rim of the candle, draw some vertical lines that end in soft, rounded ovals. These drops are key features of melting effect and are essential for conveying that feeling. You can also draw a circle anywhere you'd like and connect these vertical lines to it, making it appear as if paraffin droplets are forming. Make sure all of the drops are attached at the top of the candle. Add quite a few of them to cover the lower portion of the candle, enhancing the melting effect. Extend some of the droplets further down than the candle's length. This will give the impression that the candle is almost floating in the air, making it look more realistic. If you want to depict a lit candle, don't forget to add the wick and flame at the top. Now let's add another layer of paraffin. Draw a few additional droplets that connect to each other, covering the upper section of the candle to add more depth. In the final stage of your sketch, draw the melted paraffin liquid at the bottom. Use curved lines to create this part, giving it a flatter shape compared to the droplets above, as if the wax is spreading out on the surface. Now I'll refine my initial sketch a bit before we move on to shading. Let's start with the bottom layers, making them darker to add depth. The upper layers, including the upper parts of the candle and the droplets, receive more light and cast shadows on the lower layer, which represents the main body of the candle itself. To give this shape more dimension, I'll begin by darkening the lower sections. A great way to approach shading is by first identifying the darkest and lightest parts of your drawing. Those will be your shadows and highlights. The remaining shades and values will fall somewhere in between these two extremes. Remember that the sides and the corners here should appear darker than the center to enhance the overall effect. Right now, I'm using an HB pencil, which allows me to easily erase any areas if I accidentally make them too dark. As you can see, I'm focusing on darkening the corners of the candle. As mentioned, these areas should appear even darker to enhance the depth. I'm applying the hatching technique by creating long strokes, which helps to build shadows in these sections. For the corners of the droplets, I use slightly curved and circular lines to follow the shape's edges, making them look more natural. In some areas like here, I create a back and forth hatching effect with my lines to add more texture and dimension. For now, I'm focusing on darkening the lower layers or the main body of the candle with a consistent layer of graphite. In the next steps, we'll use darker pencils to add more contrast to the picture. The areas I pointed out here, here, and here are the highlights on the surface of the paraffin. These spots receive the most light, making them the brightest parts of the drawing. So remember not to shade these highlighted areas as the light reflects off them and keeps them bright. We will continue working on this side as well, applying a very soft gray layer here. Since I don't have a reference photo, I'm shading this shape from memory. If you follow these steps, you won't necessarily need a reference photo either. However, if you want to practice later, it's a good idea to place a candle in front of you or find a photo to draw from. I'm applying an even, consistent shade to the lower part of the candle, making sure to leave the highlighted sections untouched. Now that we've completed the first step, it's time to switch to a 2B pencil for sharper values. I'll need to sharpen my pencil a little before we continue. In this step, we'll focus on adding darker lines to the edges of the shape. Using the 2B pencil, I'll add some contrast to my drawing. This simple adjustment will bring your artwork several steps closer to looking realistic. Keep in mind that you don't need to darken every part equally. Some areas of the edge should have more noticeable darkness, while in other spots it'll be barely visible. I'll start by adding a series of dark lines in specific areas. At the same time as I apply these darker lines to the edges, I can also make the corners a shade darker than the middle sections of the candle's body using the 2B pencil. By darkening these parts, we'll clearly define and separate the boundaries between the different layers, which adds depth to the overall image. Our light source is coming from the right side of the picture, which means that most of the cast shadows and drop shadows will fall on the left side. Each of the droplets creates a shadow on the lower layer or the body of the candle. Be sure to darken these areas to reflect that. Remember, each drop shadow takes on the shape of the object that casts it. Therefore, the form of these shadows should resemble the shape of the droplets themselves. For now, let's focus on working on the lower layer. Once we finish shading this section, we'll move on to the top layer. If you look closely, you can see that the main body of the candle appears to be melting, particularly at the lower parts where it spills out from the cylinder. I've illustrated this melting effect by adding droplets that are attached to the main body. As I shade the candle's body, I also need to shade these droplets. Remember that the light source is coming from the right side, so we'll shade the left side of each of these paraffin drops more to create a sense of depth on them too. The ends of the droplets, which have a circular shape, should also be shaded following the form of the droplets. Remember to leave a highlight on the tip of each droplet and do not shade that part. Before moving on to the next step, I'll add a very soft shadow to the candle flame. This is just a temporary measure, as I will refine this area later. The candle flame should be the brightest part of the drawing and shouldn't have any shadow on it. I'll also darken the wick using my pencil for more definition. Now I will work on making the body of the candle a bit darker, focusing especially on the left side of the image to enhance the overall depth. As you work on this part of the drawing, aim for a smooth gradation as you move towards the light source. When drawing, always keep a piece of tissue or paper under your hand to prevent the shadows you've created with the pencil from smudging your artwork. Let's return to the bottom liquid section and darken the paraffin liquid on the left side. By establishing light and dark borders, I've created a layered effect in this area. The cone-shaped section in the middle should be darkened, except for a small highlight that remains untouched to represent the light reflecting off the surface. The surrounding area should be a little brighter but not as bright as the highlights. To enhance the feeling of liquidity and melting, I add curved and fluid lines around those bright areas. On the right side, be sure to shade these parts as well. Typically, the corners will be darker while the middle sections remain lighter. Once again, remember to leave the highlights intact as they make a significant difference in the overall appearance of the drawing. These highlights help to convey the reflective nature of the wax and enhance the three-dimensional feel of the candle. Now let's move on to shading the top layer. I'll begin shading from this area. We want to ensure that the shades here are definitely lighter compared to the lower layers since this layer is more exposed to light. I will add several highlights in the upper sections as well. As I shade each of these droplets, I'll make the left sides darker while providing a soft gradation for a smoother transition. Additionally, I'll darken the areas between these droplets to create the effect of surface depressions. I'm continuing to use a 2B pencil for all my shading. Always keep the tip of your pencil sharp to allow for the creation of fine details in your drawing. Next, I'll use my white polychrome pencil to create highlights. Since my paper is colored, this white pencil will help the light reflections really stand out. Make sure to sharpen your pencil and apply the highlights in their appropriate spots. To increase the contrast in the drawing, you can also take your 6B graphite pencil and add very dark values. We want to darken the edges to make the borders more defined. So I'll apply another layer of graphite with the 6B pencil specifically in the shadow areas. Be careful not to press too hard with your pencil, as this can create a shiny effect on the paper. Instead, add a dark layer softly without applying too much pressure. Typically, the flame is the brightest part of the candle. So instead of darkening the flame itself, I prefer to darken its surroundings or background to make the flame appear even brighter. First, clean up the flame area with an eraser. Then use the same white pencil to shade this part, enhancing the highlights so they really pop. As for the flame, the bottom section near the wick is usually the darkest part. Use your pencil to darken this area slightly. Next, I'll make the wick of the flame a bit darker again with the 6B pencil, and that's it. You can apply this same technique to almost any other melting material to achieve an interesting melting effect in your artwork. You can use this technique with various meltable materials such as honey, plastic, metals, ice cream, creams, syrup, wax, and anything else that comes to mind. To illustrate this further, I've drawn some additional examples to help you understand the concept better. Here you can see an ice cream cone melting. Below that, there's a melting metal chain. On this side, I have donuts with melting cream. Lastly, I've drawn a melting ball. You can even take this attractive melting effect a step further by experimenting with different fonts and letters, adding a unique flair to your designs. For even more creativity, you can combine the melting effect with elements that don't typically have melting properties at all. There's no need to limit yourself to traditional melting items. For example, you could draw a melting ball, a melting fruit, or even a melting face or a skull. The possibilities are endless. You can also take your creativity further by incorporating this effect into animal drawings. Imagine an owl with soft, fluffy feathers that appear to be melting. While feathers or fur don't actually melt, this combination could create a very interesting and unique visual. And that brings us to the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this texture tutorial. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please share them in the comments. I hope this tutorial was helpful and easy to follow. Let me know which other tutorial you'd like to see on Peonypaint, and I'll do my best to bring them to you. Until next time, and happy drawing!